Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Paul here from Pathlight Limited, and welcome to this latest live chat in Facebook. What is it called again? Pathlight Thrive Hive on Facebook, if that is where you're watching this. This is also going to be on my YouTube channel, so if you're watching later on YouTube, hello to you as well. So yeah, tonight we have our latest special guest. It's Samantha Allen, who is a trainee counsellor, and she's also a member of the Yes Tribe. And she's going to join us to explain how saying yes more has transformed her life in many remarkable ways. So really inspiring story. And Samantha's been doing a project called 40 Ways To Wellbeing, which she's going to talk to us about, I imagine. And it's founded on saying yes to the things that she loves doing. And combined that with her counselling training, she's learned to understand, embrace, grow, and show her whole self more. And here she is doing it live on our Facebook group this evening. So kudos to you, Samantha, for doing that. So yeah, it's helped calm her anxiety, connect to others, lose weight, and let go of shame. So really transformative and inspirational story that Samantha's going to share with us. If you have any questions as we go through, just pop them in the comments, and hopefully Samantha will answer them as we go through. And just before we bring her into the studio, just as usual, if you would like to share the group with your friends and family and anybody else, then please do so. Please just share it on Facebook, or invite them in, however you want to do it. The more the merrier. If you are enjoying the Hive and you're finding it useful, you might want to subscribe for just £7 a month at buymeacoffee.com/thrivehive, or you can just drop me a virtual coffee from there for £3, and I shall not spend it on coffee, I guarantee that. And finally, if I can be of any assistance to you or your family or your company, whatever your organisation is, then Pathlight can offer a wonderful service, if I say so myself, around mental health, workplace wellbeing and coaching. So check us out on pathlight.org.uk, or just drop me an email, info@pathlight.org.uk, if you want to do any mental health first aid training or workplace wellbeing programs. I've got webinars and workshops all around holistic wellbeing and compassionate management and mindful communication, all sorts of wonderful stuff. And yeah, drop me a line or have a look on the website if you're interested. So without further ado, we'll bring Samantha in. And as I say, if you want to drop any comments or questions, please do so. You can go to streamyard.com/Facebook if you want to. We can just be, you could type your name before your question if you like. So here we go. Samantha, welcome to Pathlight Thrive Hive, and thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. And yeah, this is a rescheduled talk, isn't it? Because you've been a little bit ill, well, actually quite ill for about a week, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, it took quite a lot to kick, to be fair. It was a few days completely in bed.
So, yeah, you were saying yes to your self-care by putting this off, weren't you, rather than soldiering on when you weren't actually very well?
Yes, yeah.
Very good. So, as I said to you before we went live, I have 3 standard questions that I ask all my guests, and the first one is a check-in in the style of this Indian proverb of having 4 rooms. So it's like the idea is that each of us are like a house with 4 rooms: the physical, the spiritual, the mental, and the emotional. So I wonder if you'd like to kind of check in and tell us how you're doing in those 4 different ways.
So physically, I have a lot more energy than a few days ago. So I'm really into my fitness, but I haven't done the thing the last week. But my energy levels are just about getting to the point where I feel that I could do something again. So I was out all today, which was great. It was great for the mind as well as the physical side of things. Mentally a little bit strained with university work, lots and lots of assignments, because I'm quite close to my qualification, so lots of sort of end of qualification assignments. So my mental brain is a little bit full I think is probably the correct term. Spiritually, gosh, that's a good one. Quite calm, you know, they're full of energy, but calm, like a calm energy. I think, you know, I've spent the whole day outside, just embracing the weather, whatever happens to the weather, hailstone, rain, sun. And what was the fourth one you said?
Emotionally.
Oh, emotionally.
Mm.
Bit of everything. Bit of everything, I think, in the current climate, the current times. Lots to be happy about, but quite a few things to feel maybe a little bit nervous about, I think.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, a bit of a mixed bag there all around. So busy, but getting your energy back. And yeah, thank you. Wonderful. So yeah, so we're a year now into the kind of full-on pandemic. I think it's just over a year since the first lockdown in the UK. So how has that been for you? How's the past year affected you? How have you coped with it?
To be completely honest with you, I didn't think I was going to. I think back in sort of March last year, the couple of cases in York really set my anxiety off. And quite a few people actually made fun of that anxiety. And they told me that, you know, I'm worrying about nothing. And the tricky thing with anxiety is when something like that happens, where the whole world erupts in this pandemic, my anxiety has a bit of a "I told you so," you know, and it gets proved right. So I actually thought at the beginning I was going to find it really hard. And it's not to say it hasn't been hard, but that's when I started doing the exercise and focusing on my health, because that was the only thing I could do. My job finished, so I became a stay-at-home mum for the very first time in my life. And that was really hard, being a career person with no job. So my life then became sort of daily local outings, you know, to woods and green areas with my 2-year-old at the time. He's now 3. So my life took a bit of a change. I did manage to carry on my MA, which again changed, and that's been tough, trying to sort of take on board all the changes. There's been extra work, there's been extra qualifications on top of qualifications. So it's kind of got busier. A lot of people have had the opportunity to slow down, but for me, it definitely got a lot busier. But I think it's put things into perspective for me. I work less now. I spend more time with my son. And you know, I do miss the social contact. I think that's the big thing that I've actually missed more than anything. But swings, roundabouts, you know, everything in balance. I think it's been an all right year. It's been certainly challenging, and it's held a lot of sadness, not for me, but just for the situation and for what's happening here and around the world. I think that's been, you know, I've got empathy for things that people I know have been through, and just in terms of globally what we're trying to do and what we're trying to tackle.
So yeah, it sounds like there's been a lot of change in your life, and it's like you say, a lot of people have got quieter maybe or slowed down, but yours, it just seems like it's changed the format of your life and how you're spending a lot of your time. Yeah, okay, thank you. So final question before we get into the meat of the chat this evening. Samantha, what do you love? What are your passions?
Quite a few passions. I'm quite a passionate person. So generally, if I start doing something that's like a new hobby, it will become a passion just because I just enjoy what I do. But I really like being creative, doing things like painting and music. And I really like being out, you know, in the countryside, and just being with my little boy in a toddler world, embracing your inner child, and doing silly things like puddle jumping and things like that. So I enjoy having fun, but you know, it's not the type of fun I used to have when I was 18 in the pub. It's just embracing what the world has to give you. And I really love cooking. I absolutely love it. I could do it for hours per day if I had hours per day. So I think those are probably my main passions.
Simple pleasures.
Yes, yeah, simple pleasures, but because they're so simple, you can't really make them stressful, you know?
Yeah, and it's so important to be creative and also to get out in nature and connect with nature and connect with that creativity as well. Yeah, lovely. Okay, so do you want to say a little bit, Samantha, around your history and any kind of mental health experiences that you've had that you want to share with the group?
Yeah, I think for me, I've always been an anxious person, and that's the main thing I've struggled with in the past. And I always put it down to quite a horrible relationship when I was about 18, 19. I thought because I had PTSD, I overcame the symptoms of PTSD, and I was left feeling quite anxious. Anxious of many things, anxious first and foremost of relationships. But generally, I just found that anxiety sort of fed into a lot of areas of my life. I worried a lot about things, and I could catastrophize about a lot of things. Um, but I do realise that my anxiety is also probably one of the things that's helped me get where I am, that's made me want more in life. So I kind of, as much as I struggle with it sometimes, I think that it has a place, and it's very much part of me. And what I try and do now, especially in my trainings, I kind of listen to it more. I don't try and shove it under the carpet. I think, okay, what's it trying to tell me? And I find that a bit more effective because once I understand what it's trying to tell me, I have more power over it. So I think that's my main type of struggle. Really, is sort of that. There's been some tough relationships in the past that have really taken a knock on me because I'm the type of person to enter into things completely wholly. So when someone doesn't have the same intentions, then that can have a big impact on the way you see yourself. And for me, that meant that I sort of kept myself behind closed doors. You know, in terms of introduction, things like shame took over me, especially to do with my body and how big I was. Because one of the other things I struggle with is weight. I always have. I was always quite a big child, and even now, with quite a lot of loss, I'm still sort of, I'm not butch as it were, but I'm muscly, and I'm never going to be a skinny frame. That's not me. So that's always been one thing that has really taken over my life in all types of ways. At school, with peers, even with doctors and GPs. Every time you go for a health problem, and it just makes you ashamed of who you are, to be honest. So anxiety, I think, and shame is really, really two of the things that I've battled with in the past.
Yeah. So PTSD. Post-traumatic stress disorder, for those who aren't aware of that acronym. And the anxiety feels like, from what you were saying there, Samantha, that it's kind of held you back in certain ways with coming forward into new relationships and such like, but it's also helped you. And it sounded like that the way you approach, or the way your relationship with anxiety now is, this is trying to tell me something. What is it trying to tell me? And then from there, you can listen to it and make some changes, perhaps.
Yes, and sometimes that's more effective than others. I'm kind of one of the believers that, you know, these type of things, it can be a bit up and down. And I think I'd find it harder if I said to myself, right, that's it. I'm never going to be anxious again. It's never going to keep me at home or whatever. I think that's unrealistic because there's different challenges in life, and sometimes you just need to take a step back and look after yourself.
Yeah, thank you for that. So, do you want to tell us a bit about the Yes Tribe, Samantha?
Love to. So the Yes Tribe, I first came into contact with the Yes Tribe. It was just before I started my recent MA. So I'd done the first bit of my counselling training, and I was really excited to be part of a group called the Creative Counsellors Club. And the Creative Counsellors Club is a load of wonderful people, wonderful qualified counsellors and trainee counsellors that love to work creatively. So they do a lot of sort of professional development around creatively working. And as a result of their presence online, they got recognised by Facebook as one of the top 115 most inspiring groups in the world. And along with this was the founder of Yes Tribe, who's Dave Cornthwaite. So I went down to a conference on mental health in the community in London at Facebook HQ, and he was one of the talkers. So that's when I first heard about the Yes Tribe. And to be honest, I've been hooked ever since. And it's sort of impossible to explain, but essentially it's just about embracing life and saying yes more, and seeing the joy that this person had just from saying yes more and finding the wonder in life. Has really got me hooked on just saying yes and just just enjoying things on a completely different way, being much more about yes in life rather than I can't do that, or I'm too tired, or all these different types of excuses that I've pretty much lived my life by. So that's sort of how I got introduced to it, really. And sadly, because of the pandemic, I haven't had a lot of time to do anything with the Yes Tribe face to face. But one of the things I did last year was I published an illustration in one of their books. They were asking for volunteers. You didn't have to be qualified or anything. So I just said, yeah, I'll have a go. So I've got one of my illustrations published in their book, which is called The Biggest Book of Yes, if anyone's interested. And it's 49 short stories, and it's just volunteer authors as well. And they all go on adventures everywhere and say yes to things, and it's wonderful to read. And it just really just got me going with saying yes to stuff. And I thought, I want to do more of this. And I'm not going to go around the world, because I love where I live. I love, being at home with my family and having a base. So mine were more about little yeses and things like I could incorporate into my life. So that's how I know about the Yes Tribe. They're all over the world, and they have local groups as well, fairly local groups that generally meet up and do all different types of things. And they also have a Yestival once a year. And I'm hoping to go this year. COVID, what's the word? Pending.
Yeah, wonderful. A Yestival. And I think if I heard you rightly, you said it's about embracing the wonder of life, which sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it is. It's just about saying yes to things that I think previously I just would have found inexcusable, or I would have been embarrassed to do, or and you end up doing so little that you're not feeling the joy. And my anxiety ties in with that personally, because my anxiety is one of these types of things. I talk about like a third person, but it really is a concept in psychology, not psychology, but in counselling they talk about sort of parts of the self. And for me, the anxiety is definitely a part of me. But it kind of takes over if I give it an opportunity. And if I say, no, I'm not going to do that because I'm worrying about what might happen, then that's giving in to my anxiety. And then I just don't enjoy things.
So, yeah, when we spoke a couple of weeks ago, you said that it's like you've got two voices in your head. So I presume the one is the anxious voice who says, oh, no, don't do that. That's scary. That's new. It's too big. And the other voice is saying, say yes, say yes, say yes.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. And the more I listen to the say yes, the more my anxiety goes, oh, this isn't too bad. It wasn't what I thought. Or no one laughed at you, or no one made fun of you, or you didn't really look stupid. All those type of sort of narratives in it that you can have in your head where you can be quite self-critical.
Yeah, so it sounds very similar to a concept that I learnt on a personal development course or spiritual retreat, whatever you want to call it, called the Hoffman Process, that I did a number of years ago now, 9 years ago, I think. And they said, whenever we're faced with a decision, we can take the path of love or the path of fear. And this sounds like a similar kind of concept that you're living by now, Samantha.
Trying to. I think I still have the internal debate sometimes, but sometimes I don't, especially when I'm out with a toddler. It's just that the anxious voice doesn't really get a look in. Just to see like the joy in his face and how he embraces stuff, I just forget. You just forget that you're an adult. So you go puddle jumping, you're squelching mud, you're adventurous with a stick because a stick turns into 20 different things in 2 minutes, and those type of things. But I get so much joy from it as well. So I just love opportunities to do things like that, because before I wouldn't have done it. I would have thought my weight, I'm too big to do that, or that seesaw won't hold me, those type of things, and I don't do that anymore.
If you jump in those puddles, you're going to get mucky, and then we'll have to put all the clothes in the wash and all of that stuff. I suppose it's the adaptations that we learn either from our parents who say, oh no, be careful, don't do that, don't get dirty.
Yeah.
Wherever it comes from. And we say no to a lot of things just through our programming, don't we? So
we do.
It sounds like you've reprogrammed a lot of those thoughts in your head.
Yes. Yeah, I jump off things. I'm on rope swings. I puddle jump. I just do probably really big kiddie things. I'd happily go on a space hopper, outside if I found one big enough for me. But still, I would happily do that now. Whereas I just would not have done that a year ago. Even a year ago, I wouldn't have even tried.
So finding the joy in little things, and it sounds to me like it's connected with mindfulness as well, just being in the moment, not worrying about the future, not worrying about, oh gosh, I might fall off, people might laugh at me, the clothes might get dirty. It's just saying, in this moment, this is going to bring me joy, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely a connection for me with anxiety between being and doing. My anxiety is do all the time. And when I'm being, that's, anxiety is always about forward thinking what might happen. It's not about being. So there is definitely a connection between being and doing and anxiety or not anxiety.
Yeah, so you mentioned your weight, Samantha, and you said to me the other week that you'd said yes to your health last year and you lost a lot of weight. Do you want to kind of talk us through the why and how of that and how it's affected you?
I think for me, I've always struggled with gyms and public places because I've always seen lots of really fit and healthy people and just felt ashamed to be there. And my relationship with my weight is very much psychological. So, I've never been one to do sort of quick weight loss things because it's much more about emotional connection to food and my body and my relationship with myself, really, or no relationship as it happens. Just sort of a bit of self-loathing. And every time you have a health issue, when you're really obese, you go to the doctors and they say, well, it would help if you lost some weight. And every time I've met with, long lost family members, it's been, gosh, you've put on more weight. And, I was always the fat one at school. I was always the one that didn't do sports because things moved, and I always try and avoided swimming or anything where I had to get changed or go in the showers. All these types of things. Most of my life has been sort of quite ashamed of weight. And sort of when the lockdown hit, and PE with Joe started, PE with Joe Wicks, and I didn't do that. And I saw a life coach, and it didn't change my life because I got really annoyed at him. But one thing he said, which really stuck in my head, was he said, why do you deserve to be healthy? And that really baffled me. It really, really sat with me for quite a few days thinking, well, I need to do it for my child. I need to do it. And I was like, but none of that is about what I deserve. I just could not understand the question. I genuinely couldn't, because one of the values that I've been brought up with is to always do things for other people. And it's selfish to do things for yourself. And it kind of ties in with my counselling training, because self-care is one thing that I really struggle with. So lockdown hit and I thought my anxiety is going to go through the roof. So I'm going to have 30 minutes a day to myself to do Joe Wicks workouts. So I bought the plan and I started Joe Wicks workouts, and it involved some really nice food actually as well. So it's not sort of diet food. It's proper food that I'd cook anyway. It's just a bit more tweaked to be better for you, like the right sort of nutrition and not as big portion. So I started with that a year ago. And that was 5 workouts a week. And what I soon realized is, yes, my body was changing. Yes, I was getting fitter, but my relationship with myself, my own body and my health was changing. And I just have a respect for my body now. And I wouldn't say I like it. I'm starting to like it, and I'm starting to trust it and respect it more, and that's been a massive change in my mental health, just in terms of not being ashamed. I'm not ashamed anymore of myself, and I will happily go out and not feel that everyone's staring at me because of my weight, not look at a picture and go, gosh, look at that, or try and stand somewhere near a friend so it doesn't look as noticeable. This is all in my own head, of course, but all these different things. And now I'd happily, if I went to the GP and they said something, I'd go, well, actually, I've lost 3.5 stone and I'm the fittest I've ever been. And I'll happily say that and not argue my case exactly, but just put them right about fat shaming, because I feel that's been really, really damaging over the years. So I said yes to my health, and I didn't realize how much of a change it would make to my relationship with my health and my respect for health, and long term what it means for me and what it means for my family, and being able to keep up with my son and have endless amount of energy and cope with his early mornings and all these different types of things before that were just would just knock the whole week off before. So it's just made the world of difference.
Wonderful. Yeah. So it sounds like it's made a difference in all aspects of your life, Samantha, because like you say, you need energies to keep up with a 3-year-old, but the shame underneath it, you know, shame can be so pervasive and so damaging. And it sounds like it was impacting in so many ways on your life, restricting what you could do or what you felt you could do and how you felt about yourself. And it sounds like you've got a much more compassionate and healthy relationship with yourself and your body now.
Yeah, I think I do. I think compassion is definitely one thing that I lacked towards myself, because I felt like a failure. I felt like a failure for being overweight, and I felt like a failure for then not losing the weight. So every time that I went to the gym or something and felt out of place and then didn't go back, I felt a failure. Every time then I came home and had too much chocolate, I felt like a failure. And it was just feeding, something that was really quite dark, and shameful, and and those type of things. But I think part of it is treating overweight people like the different. Kind of accentuates it for me. And for me, the way I feel about some of the weight loss groups, the popular ones, is that they're shaming. You go in and you weigh yourself. Oh, it's a loss, or oh, it's a gain, and it feels quite shameful. And that's the way I feel about losing weight in the past. I've been shamed into doing it because I'm ashamed of who I am, not the fact that I'm just being healthier and as a result I'm losing weight. It's a very different perspective. And that for me has been the biggest difference, and that won't change. I mean, I won't go back to the gym now because it's my personal thing. It's my personal relationship with my body. So I have my personal training sessions outside, and if I can continue to do that, I will, because I love nature. And it's just different. I don't do sort of shouty PT. You work harder and all this stuff. It doesn't do it for me because it makes me feel ashamed. It causes me to feel shame. And that's the biggest change for me, as I've worked out, actually, it's not me in terms of a defect with me. I just need to work the way that teaches me a positive relationship with my body, rather than always feeling like a punishment, always feeling I'm not doing enough. It's the wrong angle for me, and it has been for many years. So it's like a new identity. I'm still getting to know my new body and my new energy and my new perspective. It's a whole new, like a body relationship identity. I didn't even think there was such a thing, but I realized there is once I'm not obese anymore. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it sounds like a really wonderful transformation, and underpinning it is a knowledge of yourself. I think, Samantha, what you're saying there is that you've got to know what works for you, and the diet clubs are not going to work for you. The shouty PT instructor is not going to work for you. It's about getting connected with the emotional side of it and doing it your way. So you've embraced that, and that's wonderful. So would you like to talk about your project, your 40 Ways of Wellbeing project?
Yes. I don't think I'll read out all 40, because one, I'm not entirely sure I'm going to do, mainly because it's a bit overly brave. So I may have to leave that one. But 40 Ways of Wellbeing, I wanted to do more yeses, and I thought, what a better way than to do a project for myself. So I thought of 40 things that are slightly out of my comfort zone, and they embrace different parts of me. So some of them might be fears. And when I say fears, I don't mean diagnosable fears. I mean anxiety fears. Heights is one of them, because I can do heights, but it's anxiety that overcomes me and stops me. So one of the things that's on my 40 Ways of Wellbeing, for example, is zip lining. So each of the activities, some of them are a bit longer, some of them are a bit shorter, but they're all mini projects, which I can write about, and I can write about the experience of my wellbeing and what I learned from it, or what I found so hard, or what went wrong. And that's what I want to do eventually. I want to put a book together about these 40 different things. So some of them are sort of physical things that I've never wanted to do because of weight. I've always thought, oh, I can't do that. I won't be able to stand up on the paddleboard, and then they won't be able to lift me out the water. All these kind of narratives around weight. And some of them are things that I love to do, but I don't show anyone. So one of them is playing the piano in the train station. I'm always that person that stops and just is in awe of some of the musicians that sit there. I just think, wow. And I have to say, no, I've actually got a bit of work in 15 minutes. So well, that's one of my things. And another one, which my husband actually suggested, is selling a painting, because I love to paint. I've never shown anyone. So he's challenged me to do that, and he's challenged me to write and record a song and put it on YouTube. So things like that. But there's also things like compassionate ones. So I want to stand somewhere public. This is post-pandemic, but I want to stand somewhere public and I want to give out hugs for the day, because I just think it'll be such an amazing, fulfilling experience to do. And I did it as part of a charity many years ago. We were trying to break the world record for the number of hugs, I think, in 15 minutes. And I'm stood outside the town hall with Christina Ackroyd and what's Harry Graham, just hugging strangers, but just to see their face light up. And so some of them are like that, and then what's the other ones? I've got so many little things, but it's just about ways to learn about myself and broaden my horizons. One of them is meditation for 100 days, because I'm curious about the impact on my well-being if I did it for 100 consecutive days. Because at the end of the day, the Yes Tribe isn't about just the big yeses, it's about the small yeses, and it's about the impact on life. So I just want to take advantage of that, really. And it gives me something to focus on. There's a few things that I've cheekily put down that I've already done, which have made a big difference. But one of them was going to Indonesia and directing an orphanage, which I did a few years ago. So I want to write about that, because that's made a huge difference to my life. And I wouldn't have married my husband if I hadn't gone. He would have been my best friend forever, and I wouldn't have realised what was right in front of me. So there's lots of things on my 40 ways of well-being, but it's just about grabbing life by two hands, but in the way that you can, not packing your things up and going around the world, but just embracing the yeses around you that you can embrace, essentially.
Yeah, wonderful. And I'm thinking it's those 1%. I read an article the other day about change your life by 1% each day or each week, and just see how those small changes add up and make a massive difference. So I like the examples you gave there, Samantha, and a lot of them seem to be about showing up publicly. So you've got some talent, so you've got creativity, you've got music in you, you've got all sorts. We've all got all of this within us, actually. But you know about it, maybe your husband knows about it and your child knows about it, but the world doesn't. So it's a lot of it seems to be about showing the world what you've got to offer.
Yeah, I think it's about having the respect for myself to say, this is part of you, why are you hiding it? It's that shame thing again, isn't it? And I think saying yes is about not having those shameful parts, like, just have, that was awful, like, but having those holistic parts of you as who you are on the outside, not just who you are on the inside. And that's, and that's essentially what's changed about my relationship with myself. I don't hide away anymore. So the idea of doing these things is following on from that. And losing 3 stone was actually on my list anyway. So when I wrote it, I hadn't lost that much, and now I've gone past that. So that was on my list as well. But it's something that I'm going to really enjoy doing, and I'm not restricting myself to a time, but it would just be nice to do it in the next sort of 5 years over the course. And it might be that I change my mind and skip one thing and do something else. I don't know. But there's some holidays in there. There's traveling by different modes of transport when I'm away, and see how many modes of transport I can get in. So there's other stuff as well. It's just little challenges. It's just saying yes to different things and seeing what happens.
Saying yes to fun, saying yes to all those parts of yourselves that you're keeping hidden away. And again, as you said when we chatted a couple of weeks ago, it's about embracing the shadow. And I imagine you're familiar with Carl Jung.
Yes.
Yeah, so a lot of people know a bit about Carl Jung, and when they talk about the shadow, they think it means the bad parts of yourself that you hide away, but it's actually all of the parts of yourself you hide away, including your talents and your unfulfilled potential. So some of that shadow, which you're kind of hiding due to shame or anxiety, you're trying to get out there.
I am, yeah, and I'm really enjoying it. And if the comments have been there that my anxiety would have worried about, well, I certainly haven't had them directed towards me. I think it's just, for me, it's about respecting one thing from counselling is respecting the fact that other people's stuff is their stuff. It's not mine. And I think before I've been very I've interjected, I've taken it on board like it's something I'm doing wrong. And I think one thing that I've learned in my training is, people will say stuff, but that's their stuff. That doesn't mean it's you. It doesn't mean that's what you are. And I think that's another change, to be fair. But I want to do this because I kind of, it's part of a test for myself, because I have a more positive relationship with myself, and I can do the silly things, and I can do all the things I've mentioned. This should be kind of I don't know, putting it into full swing about embracing all the parts of me, like you say, all the shadow parts that I've previously hid away. I've sung before, but I've sung to a very small crowd. I've not put anything up on the internet because I'm a bit old-fashioned, but I think it's time that I tried something and just pushed myself slightly out of that comfort zone, because it just broadens your horizons.
Would you like to give us a song now?
Oh, my son's in bed. Perfect excuse. There you
Brilliant. Go. Yeah. Otherwise, you would have been all over it, I'm sure.
I would have been all over it. Yeah.
So, I wonder. You mentioned your list of 40 ways of well-being, and you're not necessarily going to go through them all in order, and maybe you'll add to it or you'll change things around. But of the list that you've got already, Samantha, is there anything that you're already thinking, oh, gosh, that's going to be a real stretch? It's making me anxious just thinking about it.
Yes, there's one particular thing, and I wasn't going to tell you, but I'll be congruent. One of them is posing nude for a drawing class. And that one is like the ultimate, I respect my body, which is where I'm going for. But that one I feel like I'll have to do in a completely different country, just in case there's anyone I know. so and to the extent it's bothering me that every time I tell someone, I go, well, this is going to seem a bit out there, and most people have been absolutely receptive. Most people I've spoken to and my close friends. But that is not something in a million years anyone would have imagined me doing. So that is probably the biggest one on the list that petrifies me slightly. But I'm going to do it. I just don't know when.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, life drawing. And for me, a word that I don't think we've used today. We've used shame, we've used anxiety. But a lot of it, I think, is perhaps around judgment as well.
Yeah,
so how you judge. Yeah, how you judge yourself and how you perceive others may judge you. So in that life drawing situation, I imagine, you've got, I don't know, eight artists there, and they're just seeing you as another model that they have an opportunity to draw, and they'll appreciate your body and they'll try and represent it in whatever way. And I imagine they won't be judging you, but you, when you're sat there in the middle or whatever you're doing, will probably have some thoughts of judging yourself and judging what they may be thinking, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that for me is probably one of the biggest motivators for doing it, because afterwards I can write about it, and I can write about what was going on internally for me. And I think that's a big learning point. I just want to do it in an area where I know I'm not going to get anyone I know. So if I do feel absolutely ashamed, which I probably will, I might not do. I'm hoping by that point I'll be even more body confident. But it just gives me that space, so I can kind of leave it if it's something that's I found really hard. But I do want to write about it, because I think it's very much part of the journey of losing weight and finding my new identity in a different body, in a sense. Same body, actually. I shouldn't say different, because it's the same body, and that's the whole point of respecting it. But I do think it's part of the journey of learning to love myself. Another one was shaving off my hair. I've always had long hair. This is the shortest it's been ever in my life. So I've already kind of gone halfway there, but my intention is to get it shaved. But I want other people to do it. I want it to be kind of a community event where people can just take a shaver and do a bit, and then someone else comes. Because these are the things that hide me, that hide, I say the naked body, but they hide the naked me. And that's what I've been doing. So that's another big one. But I think the biggest one is the drawing. I think that is the biggest one on the list.
Yeah. It's something that would bring fear to a lot of people, I think, doing that. And I like what you said about it. It's about getting comfortable with yourself, getting to love yourself better. And the more we do that, the more we can let go of all that shame and all of those scripts we've been telling ourselves that we're not good enough or we're not slim enough or whatever it is. So, yeah, wonderful. Another thing that you said to me is it's helping you to do is to connect to other people more. So I notice that a lot of the examples you've given are not just you on your own, it's you with some other people or an audience or something like that. So do you want to say something about why that's important for you to connect with other people more?
I think for me, I tend to struggle with relationships because of the anxiety. And I don't just mean romantic relationships, I mean friendships and stuff, because I'm always filling in the gaps. So my anxiety fills in the gaps. So if I don't hear from someone, I think, oh gosh, I've done something wrong. What have I done? Should I say sorry? Should I contact them? Should I not? And if I connect with people on a different way, I think it's something to do with that being, just being in a friendship with someone without worrying about what might happen or what's not being said. And I struggle with that. I struggle to put the anxiety aside and connect with someone. And what that ends up doing, because I worry so much, I don't message my friends, or I don't make contact, and that can become really isolating. And I've especially found that over the pandemic. So a lot of these things are about giving more of myself to something without that worry. There is the judgment, but without that worry about what's happening on the other end. Just you don't hold everything back because you're worried about what someone might do with it, essentially. So I think for me, it's about being vulnerable so you can build deeper relationships. So you can reach people on different level, a deeper level. And that's very much what I'm training to do as a counsellor. So it's something that I need to learn more to embrace, because sometimes I can do it, but it's very much my anxiety is I realize my anxiety, the big thing that it tells me is it tries to keep me safe, but it overreacts. So it thinks, oh, you're going to get hurt. So the easiest thing to do is just to keep your distance. And that's really hard, constantly not arguing with it. No, arguing sometimes. Sometimes I don't argue. Sometimes it's very much no, and that's it. But other times it's very much an argument. It's very much a sit down. I worry that I've done something wrong. Worry that someone's, I don't know, going through something awful because they were going through something awful a couple of days ago and I haven't heard from them. And there's just a lot of that preempt about stuff. So by giving more of myself, I'm just not, it's not in the head, it's in the heart, it's in the gut. And I'm giving that part of myself. So I'm not living in the relationship in my head. I'm living it in the real world. I'm sharing parts of me and they're sharing parts of them, and I'm not worrying about stuff that isn't happening. So it's kind of twofold. It's about building deeper relationships, about connecting to people on a deeper level, but it's also about not living relationships in my head, essentially.
Yeah, and that's one of the facets of anxiety, isn't it? That we do tell ourselves stories, and you said earlier on about catastrophizing and think, yeah, they're not phoning me because it's that thing that I did, or I said something wrong in that previous text. So yeah, showing your vulnerability, and yeah, this is remarkably similar to my own experience over the past year with the pandemic, because through this group, this Facebook group, I've been showing more of myself, being more vulnerable, and showing my shadow side, I suppose, as well. And now it's about translating that back into real life as we come out of lockdown and you're able to do things yourself, like have people shave your hair and be in a life drawing class and all of those wonderful things. And for me, it's going to be about going out into cafes and pubs or whatever it is, and being vulnerable, showing my true self rather than hiding away like I used to do, and it sounds like you used to do as well.
Yeah, very, very much so. And I think the one thing that I have become okay with sometimes is the fact that I'm all right with going to fields and not feeling like I want to go to busy places. I'm all right with that. I used to think that made me different. And now I'm much more, nature's a wonderful thing, and being out in nature is a wonderful thing. And all the things that I used to do, I just don't think are important anymore. I used to go to coffee shops in the middle of the day, but now I just take snacks with us out. And it's not needed. All the stuff we used to do before, it's not needed. I'm not anxious about those type of things anymore. And I'm more than comfortable with not doing something because other people are doing it. I'm much more settled in my own ways of being, you know, and I very much have felt pressured ever since younger to be a certain way to fit in. And you know, the counselling journey as well as the weight thing has really just given me a new confidence in the way I like to be. You know, I don't, I have a few close friends, but I don't live my life by my friends, because for me, I got married because I wanted to be with my husband. I didn't get married to spend every night with my friends. And I don't have to contact them constantly. And it's taken me years to accept that that's okay.
So yeah, it's quite a journey. Like you say, the whole transformation of embracing your whole self, accepting that, letting go of the shame, doing things for you, doing things for joy, really connecting with yourself, and then showing so much more of yourself to the world.
Yes. Yeah. I have no idea how it's going to go down, but there we go.
Well, I think it's really inspiring, and I wonder, you know, it sounds to me like you're doing this 40 Ways of Wellbeing project primarily for yourself. It's for your soul, and maybe the people around you as well, the important people around you. But I wonder, are you hoping that it will inspire others, you know, and, you know, go on television shows or whatever, and radio, and show people? No, is that not on the list, Samantha?
Probably not the TV show. I have actually done a radio interview before about this project, and to be perfectly honest, I probably would again. The other thing that I said yes to, which I probably should have mentioned earlier actually, because it is a personal challenge of mine, is I volunteered to put a poem in a book about grief. I wrote a poem when I lost a baby in 2015, and I was quite poorly with it. I ended up in surgery on Christmas Eve, so I got out on Christmas Day, and it was the most surreal Christmas. But it took me a few years actually to even write the poem. And an old psychology tutor from Open University, she lost her son to suicide, so she's written this book called The Weight of Emptiness, by Patricia Elliott. So I've got my poem published in there from that as well. So I think there's an element that's I'm still out there. I still want to inspire people, and I guess the thing is for me that's made it feel more of wanting to tell people is the fact that saying yes can feel so overwhelming. And the Yes Tribe is great, but so many people that just pack up the bags and off they go around the world, and they just do these amazing things. And I've had so much benefit from the little yeses. And when you've lived a life of no's, I kind of feel like it's incredibly hard to even just say yes once. So I would like to write a book, and I'd love to publish it. That is one of my things on my list. But I'd like to write about how it changed my life, which sounds really corny when I say it like that. Kind of self-helpy, but not. It's really, I want it to be funny, and I want it to be tragic, and I want it to be all the things that you read in a book and you think, oh, that's hilarious. I want people to relate to it, you know? So if someone asked me to do an interview, I should say yes, you know, embrace the yesness. But I'm not sure. I'd have to know who they were and what they were asking. You know, I wouldn't want to be set up.
Wonderful. Yeah. So yeah, you know, I think it is very inspiring, and what I particularly like, there's two things I particularly like about what you brought, Samantha. One is that it's about you. It isn't about, you know, a marketing thing to sell books, or this is going to work for everyone. You've got to follow this program. It's what's working for you, and it's transforming your life. And that doesn't sound corny, because I can sense that from you. And the other thing I like is that it doesn't have to be these grand schemes. It doesn't have to be jumping out of an aeroplane or traveling around the world, like you say. It's just those small things. Jump in that puddle, go on that seesaw, you know, get a poem published. That's quite a big thing, I suppose. But yeah, so yeah, it's wonderful. And I wonder, as we're coming towards the end now, what would you say to people who perhaps have experienced similar things to yourself, anxiety, shame, hiding themselves away? if they're wanting to start off on this kind of journey of showing themselves more and saying yes more, what's a good place for them to start, would you say?
I'm probably going to be a bit controversial, but for me, I think going to a counsellor, because it's if you hate yourself that much, it's very hard to admit it and sit with that. And for me, self-acceptance is a huge thing, a massive thing, and it's taken me years to get to the point where I am accepting of myself. And if I'm hiding myself from myself, then that makes it just impossible to do anything in life, because I'm just hiding. And I think for me, counselling has been transformative. I don't mean in terms of training. The training is amazing and challenging, everything, but actually going to counselling and having a space which is accepting of all the parts you hate about yourself, and it's unconditional acceptance, and it's not without judgment. And that is so hard to find when you are spending your entire 24/7 judging yourself. So I think for me, that's been really transformative in even accepting the parts of me and then being able to explore them. I can't explore them. I can't work out what their purpose is. I can't, I say change them. It's not change, just have a different relationship with them. You know, you are who you are. But, you know, learn to love the things about me that I thought weren't lovable. And I can't have anyone tell me they're lovable, because if I don't like them myself, it wouldn't matter how many times someone told me. So actually a safe space to talk about how I hate myself has just been transformative. And that's kind of all I can say. It's such an amazing thing that's kind of unspoken. It's you know, but for me that's the biggest change. And then just start to say yes to that puddle, and start to say things every time you come to a point where you think, oh, that looks fun, oh, I shouldn't. You do it. Just that little twinge where, and just flick the switch in your head and just go, I'm going to do it. And that's the biggest. Just start with the smallest things, and they feel huge, but they add up and they make such a difference. So that for me is it. Even my husband, I drive my husband nuts. I'm jumping off logs and I'm flying this way and flying that, and he's like, "There's someone coming." I was like, "I don't care." You know, and that used to be it. So I'm not jumping off that. You know, I'm going to slip. I'm going to hurt myself. So it's just a complete change in mindset, and it's something so minor. But for me, it really is. It comes back to self-acceptance and self-love.
Yeah. So it's walking the walk, as you said earlier, around the counselling journey. You know, as counsellors, we're trying to encourage other people to love themselves and unpick all of those scripts and the shame and the anxiety around being their true selves. And part of that journey, almost inevitably, is coming to be our true selves as counsellors, isn't it? So yeah, that's wonderful advice. And we've had a comment come in. So well done, Samantha. Your actions could be a survival guide to others. Small and simple acts can have a huge effect. Yes.
That's amazing.
Totally agree. Yes, so I don't know who that was, but thank you very much for your comment.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, lovely. So, Samantha, is there anything else you'd like to bring? Anything that we haven't discussed that you feel is important before we end?
One thing that when I was on the radio, they said to me, "Do you have a challenge for listeners?" And I thought long and hard. And this one is quite a big one. I have to say, it's quite a big one. But one of the things that I did as my challenge for the listeners is to write yourself a letter of self-compassion. And I would say it's hard, because when I wrote mine, I couldn't read it for the first 5 times because I cried. But saying sorry to yourself, you know, sorry for being so hard on yourself. And I think that's so valuable. But it was tough. But it was so worth it. So I think that's probably a good place for me anyway, to finish on the self-compassion. It's a tough time at the moment. There's lots of trauma around on a global level. And self-compassion is a wonderful thing if you can find it.
Absolutely. So yeah, thank you for that. I was going to ask you to give a challenge to our viewers, but I totally forgot about that. So thank you. So a letter of self-compassion. Do you want to just say a little bit more, give a bit more guidance around what that is?
Well, so I remember sitting on this training course, and someone said, on a scale, I think it was a scale of 1 to 5, but it may have been 1 to 10. You know, how much compassion do you show those you love? So I was like, oh, 9. You know, and then how much compassion on a scale of 1 to 10 do you show yourself? And I was like, ooh, you know, 3, maybe 2. And then they said, what would it feel like to show yourself the same amount of compassion as you do to others? And then I was just compelled to write a letter. And that's where it came from. So I literally addressed it to myself. And then I wrote it in third person. I went, no, it's me talking. I don't need to write it in third person. And it's important because I wanted to own up to my mistakes about the way I treat myself. So how I wrote it was important, who it was addressed to. And I just wrote an apology letter. That's what it became. And it became an apology letter. And it literally started, I'm sorry I'm so hard on you all the time. And that's how it started. And then it talked about my strengths. So I said, you're so strong and these type of things. And it was a letter that you'd write probably to a friend, but to yourself. It was about showing yourself the same amount of compassion that you show other people.
That's a wonderful and very powerful practice. Yeah, so nice challenge. The challenge is laid down. The gauntlet has been thrown down by Samantha. So any viewers on Pathlight Thrive Hive on Facebook or on YouTube, give it a go if you fancy, and please do let us know how you get on with that and what effect it might have on you. Yeah, I like that because it's all about loving ourselves, being kind to ourselves, and we're the person we spend the most time with, aren't we? And very often
we're there all the time.
We are. We're our own worst enemies. The things that we say to ourselves, we wouldn't say probably to our worst enemies if we have any enemies. So yeah, be kind, be compassionate to yourself. Wonderful. I like that. That's a good place to end, unless there's anything else you'd like to say, Samantha, before we call it a day.
No, I think I've talked your ear off for long enough.
I think that's the first time I've heard you say no all evening.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's 2 now.
Oh, no. That's 3.
Okay, so that's been really lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
No, you're very welcome. It's a lovely story. It's got me tingly, and it's got me wanting to say yes to some more stuff. So thank you for your time and for sharing your experience and showing your vulnerability, and also inspiring other people, hopefully, with your personal journey.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. So I'm going to pop you into the green room, Samantha, backstage, where we have a selection of biscuits and cakes and no, we haven't. Fruit.
Fruit, salad sticks. Goodness.
Absolutely, got to be on point there. So if you need to get off, that's absolutely fine. If you want to hang on and have a kind of debrief in a couple of minutes, then you can stay there. So thank you again, and take care, and hopefully see you soon.
Yes, you do. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wonderful. Isn't that inspiring? So I wonder if anyone has been inspired to say yes more, to be more self-compassionate to yourself, to be open to more fun, even if they're little small things like going on a seesaw or a rope swing or splashing in puddles. Do let us know if you've watched that and you've got some ideas of what you're going to do. Pop it in the group or send us a message or something. Okay, so yeah, just a few messages before we end. If you want to share the group with other people, if you think anyone would benefit from seeing Samantha's talk, it's still going to be there in the Hive and also on YouTube. So invite them in. Say, there's this great group. It's called Pathlight Thrive Hive. Go to Facebook and find it, and it's wonderful. Thank you very much. And if you would like to send some money my way, then you can do that at buymeacoffee.com/thrivehive. Thank you to everyone who has done so already. And if you feel that my company, Pathlight Limited, can support you as an individual, your family, or your organisation with anything to do with mental health, well-being, relationships, coaching, then do give me a shout, either via the website, which is pathlight.org.uk, or send an email to info@pathlight.org.uk, and we can have a natter. Lovely. So thanks for your company. And we've got another comment here. So only caught the last 10 minutes, but we'll definitely be listening again. Brilliant interview. And Samantha, you are a natural at this, isn't she? She came across as very authentic and just herself, which I think is a big part of the whole programme. So yeah, thank you for your comment, whoever that is. I can't see who it's from, but thank you. And yes, I highly recommend watching the whole thing back. It's a lovely journey. So yeah, that's it for now. If you would like to appear as a guest on Pathlight Thrive Hive, then drop me a message. Everyone's got a story to tell. I did a post in the group the other day. You might not think you've got a story to tell, but I bet you have. So say yes to it, and just give us a shout if you fancy having a chat about what you could bring to the group and share your story and maybe inspire others or break some stigma around mental health issues or whatever it is. Just give me a shout. We can have a chat, no pressure. So hope you're all well. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy your weekend and see you soon. Bye-bye.